watching Cable 2.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Runge and you're in touch with Dr. Angela Hairston. Thanks for joining us for this episode of In Touch. We've got a lot to talk about today. We'll get caught up with the superintendent here in just a moment. And a bit later, we'll talk with the head of HR about a big career fair that's coming up here in the school system. You'll want to hear all the details about that. And in our salute to Black History Month, we'll talk about the first African American to own an airline. And it all started right here in Winston-Salem. It's an interesting story. You'll want to stick around for it. But first, welcome back, Dr. Hairston.
It's great to be back, Chris.
Yeah. Enough rain? You got enough of the rain?
Oh, goodness, yes. Yes.
At least it's not snow, right?
At least it's not snow.
Since we last spoke, the Board of Education, in a unanimous vote, approved an equity policy for our school system. Can you talk more about the policy and why it's important to even have one?
So, Chris, equity is a mindset. It's a mindset that in education, we're going to provide children the avenues to success. Now, some people think that means taking away from some and giving to others. It actually does not. It means giving more to some children or different pathways to children based on their needs. And so we really are excited about the equity policy as we start to train people, change mindsets, and ensure that all children can reach high levels of success and attend college and select their career of choice because we've done right by them. And we've stood in the gap when needed, pushed when needed, and provided additional support when needed.
Great. Believe it or not, we are just weeks away from the March primary. And on that ballot, there will be a vote for a 1/4-cent sales tax that would boost teacher supplements in our county. We've put together some snippets that we've been running on social media and also here on Cable 2. We'll let you take a look at this latest one and then we'll talk on the backside of it.
Teacher Side and I always joke, we talk about that we're the only profession that steals from our own homes to bring to our job. Like you wouldn't expect a surgeon to have to pay for their scalpel or a nurse to bring their own thermometers, where we're buying paper and pencils and pencil sharpeners, and we're purchasing crayons and notebooks for our students, where sometimes these basic necessities aren't given at school. That supplement made a difference, and it would make a significant difference in the amount of money that I would get paid.
So a 1/4 cent doesn't sound like much, but it would mean a great deal to teachers.
Right, it would mean between $2,000 and $3,000 in additional supplemental pay, and we are the lowest in 5 of the major districts when it comes to supplemental pay. In fact, there's one district that pays twice as much in supplemental pay as we do, and that's just unacceptable. We want great teachers in our classrooms, and we want to retain great teachers. We must find a way to provide them the compensation. Teaching hasn't changed since I taught, meaning that if you're a great teacher, you're going to spend hours and hours at home planning. You're going to spend hours and hours at home supporting your children, and you're going to be engaged in the classroom when children walk in, from the time they walk in until they leave. And we find many of our teachers having to take on second jobs and do other things outside of their focus on teachers. Now, we can't forget that we have support staff for teachers. Teachers have to have support systems. Our bus drivers, our custodians, our teacher assistants, and so we want to see some support for their pay as well. But this opportunity gives our community a way to say thank you to our teachers and to demonstrate we appreciate them for their work. We want the best, and we want to compensate them for being the best.
Again, the primary is March the 3rd, but we should mention that early voting begins in February.
So a few days away.
Not long at all. School system got some good news recently. It came in the form of a $300,000 grant for safety equipment.
Yes.
How is that going to make us safer? How are we going to use it?
We are continuing to work on our camera systems. We have pots of money or pools of money that we pull together to support our cameras, our surveillance system. And that will continue to be our focus. And also our intercom system. Our school nutrition workers enter the building early in the morning, 5:30 and 6 o'clock. And their access for safety is not as good as we need to have it. And so that'll be a focus as well.
That's a great point. I had never thought of
Yeah.
that. It really is. Kindergarten enrollment is fast approaching. We're
Yes,
doing things
yes.
differently this year. Big event
Yes.
planned for this month.
Yes, and I want to encourage anyone who visits a school, a non-teaching staff, go visit a kindergarten class. It's a great opportunity to engage with children, and they love to ask your name and what you're doing here and all kinds of questions. But the 20th of February will be our day of enrollment. We want to enroll as many children as possible who qualify for kindergarten enrollment in the fall. And we want that enrollment early so we can begin to communicate with parents, share kindergarten readiness opportunities with children and families, and get them in our Summer Pathways program if they have not been able to participate in a pre-K program. This is an exciting day for so many elementary schools from 10 to 6, and we look forward to having our children and families enroll in this exciting school district in their local school. They need to go to their home school, the school of the attendance that their home is located in.
So it's a day-long event, and you can look for that Ready Freddy symbol. You can
Ready
just
Freddy.
Go to our website.
How unique is that? Ready
is.
Freddy. I love it.
It is Black History Month, and we've been celebrating all month long here on Cable 2. We've got a special profile that's coming up in just a bit. But let's take a look at one of the biggest events that we've seen so far in this school system. It was held at Reynolds Auditorium, and it was a production of Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. This was by Classic Productions. Elementary students from across the district attended. It was really very well attended, as you can see.
Yes.
It was a great event. Tell us about some of the things that you've seen in the school system.
Oh my goodness! So we've had opportunities at our middle college, students celebrating African American history, looking at the contributions of historical figures. We have a wax museum at one of our elementary schools. Our own board chair, Melisha Woodbury, has spearheaded an event at the Roscoe Anderson Recreation Center. People can just pop in on the weekends. So many activities are going on throughout the district. We have Jefferson Elementary School engaged in some events of historic nature, and most schools are just, they're not just, but they're actually celebrating the contributions of African Americans. Meadowlark, they're looking at the contributions of African Americans to music and celebrating that throughout the month. So great opportunities throughout the district to share. They're posted on our website, so I hope people pop in and visit.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And we always try to end on a fun note, something else that we're celebrating, paying tribute to this week. It's Love the Bus Week. And schools have been doing kind things for our bus drivers. This is a look at a very rainy Southwest Elementary yesterday, but there were lots of Valentines and balloons. They sort of did a theme, a little bit of candy, and they paid tribute to their bus drivers. Why is it important for us to celebrate this week?
Let me tell you, our bus drivers are strong, they're good people, and they're the first faces for the district when children get on buses. A smile from a bus driver can make the difference between a great day or an okay day. Bus drivers being on time is a challenge with our traffic and our weather, and so we know that they love our children. I met with bus drivers last month for 2 days, and what I learned is even a greater appreciation for the work they do on behalf of our children and our school districts. So it's time for us to really say thank you to our bus drivers and to all the folks that help get our children to school. I can tell you again, I want to reiterate, they love our children.
They do,
and they want our children to do well. And we're working with them on some improvements for their workload. And this starts here by saying thank you. That just a small level of thanks goes a long way. And we're glad to have Mark Johnson, our state superintendent, joining us at Jefferson later this week for one of those events.
That'll be great. And we'll be out there as well, and we'll have video for you on our next program. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll have lots to talk about next month, I'm sure.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, we appreciate it. If you're looking for a job or maybe you want to change careers, we've got a big career fair coming up and we'll talk about that. And the first African American pilot to own an airline. It's a great story. Stick around.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
There are lots of people who are looking for work these days, and come to find out, the school system has lots of opportunities, and we're going to be showing them off very soon. Our head of HR, Jevelyn Bonner-Reed, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for this time. This is an exciting time.
Yeah, it is. We've got a big career fair coming up. Tell us about it.
Well, it's on April 4th from 9 to 12, and I think what sets our district apart is that our career fair is, of course, for teachers. We're always in need of teachers. However, our career fair also focuses on all types of roles that we have. They include bus drivers, custodians, even HR. We have some openings, finance. So really all kinds of departments we're going to have available opportunities, which I think is really exciting for the community.
So you don't have to have a teaching license. You don't have to want to be in a school. You could be in the administrative office.
Exactly. But of course, we do want those teachers.
Oh, yeah, we do.
But yeah, exactly. We have opportunities throughout the district. And I really want to encourage seniors in high school that are thinking about careers that they come out and take a look, and there'll be opportunities for them as well.
What should people bring? Should they dress a certain way? Should they bring their resumes? Does it still work that way?
Absolutely. Bring a resume. You can dress in business attire. You can at least business casual attire, I would encourage. But come as you are, because we're really looking for people, and we're really excited about people coming out for this event.
And what's unique about this is you're going to really get to see each of the 80 schools, right? Everybody's going to be represented.
Absolutely. All 80 schools will be represented at the fair.
And each school has such a different personality, you can sort of fit yourself in.
Exactly.
Okay, one more time, give us the details so that we won't forget and we can get the word out there.
Sure, the details, April 4th at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and we'll have all different types of career opportunities, teachers and all others. Please come out.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you.
We appreciate it. We're going to ask you to sit here for about 90 seconds while I finish up some business, and then we'll say goodbye. But each February, we pay tribute to prominent African Americans who made a difference in our country. This year, we offer the profile of a man who changed aviation. He was the first African American to own an airline, and he got his start in commercial aviation right here in Winston-Salem. Warren Wheeler actually got his inspiration to become a pilot from his sister. She started taking flying lessons and took him on an airplane ride, which piqued his interest in aviation, and he himself began to take lessons and received his private pilot's license at age 15. Wheeler enrolled in a flying school in Oklahoma, and in 1962 obtained his commercial pilot's license at the age of 19. No airline would hire Wheeler as a pilot due to racism and segregation. There were no African American pilots working for major airlines at that time. So Wheeler opened a flight school and charter service to get more flying hours. He also purchased his own plane. He was successful in getting some contracts to instruct white students at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Then his big break came in 1965. Winston-Salem-based Piedmont Airlines, seen here at Smith Reynolds Airport, was experiencing enormous growth in needed pilots. Founder and President Thomas H. Davis accepted Wheeler's application, and at the age of just 22, Wheeler was hired by Piedmont. He was the first African-American pilot hired by Piedmont Airlines and the youngest person in their 1965 training class. He was also one of the first 10 black commercial pilots in the U.S. In 1969, Wheeler took a temporary leave of absence from Piedmont and obtained a $36,000 loan and started Wheeler Airlines. The commuter airline began with just one plane and Wheeler as its only employee. It was based at Raleigh-Durham Airport. He catered to businessmen who wanted to avoid crowded, larger airlines and fly to areas of the Carolinas and Virginia. By 1976, the airline had grown and had 3 planes used for commuter service and 8 additional aircraft used for charter flights. Wheeler had 27 employees and was making $20,000 per month in profit. By 1986, the airline industry had drastically changed and larger carriers were taking over smaller ones. Wheeler was still a Piedmont captain and continued with U.S. Air when those two airlines merged in 1989. Profits at Wheeler declined significantly amid the mergers of the 80s, and the company filed bankruptcy and ceased operations in 1991, but the history had been made. Warren Wheeler had owned and operated a very successful carrier for more than 2 decades, the first African-American owned airline in history. And we say thanks to the Piedmont Aviation Historical Society for those pictures. You can learn more about them at jetpiedmont.com or search Jet Piedmont on Facebook. And do a search for Warren Wheeler. His story is fascinating, and that's just a small part about it. Thanks so much for joining us this month. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time on In Touch.
Thank you for joining us on your school channel, Cable 2.